looking around here, y'all. Seem like you own everything. I'm seeing all these buildings. Can I get a job? Nah, just playing, but yeah. So it probably took me a couple of years to realize that people need to laugh. I think, light shine its brightest in darkness. So I love performing in the clubs and in the theaters. I like being on shows with the quote unquote raunchy comedians because now the people get to see another side, oh, it can be done this way because somebody had to show me. The reason why I never even thought about being a comedian was because all the comics I like, they cuss. And because I'm a preacher's kid and all that, I didn't want to be on stage, going completely opposite from what my pop's trying to do. And so somebody turned me on to clean comedy. And then I was like, oh, I can do it. And then, so I think it's needed. I don't feel like I'm losing, doing it this way. People always talk about change. And I don't really think it's just a change. I just think it's a beautiful blend, when we can, without history, we don't really know, where we're going. We need that foundation, whether you want to call it traditional and contemporary or whatever. I think all churches need this mixture because that's what you're gonna get in the world. That's what's in the audience. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So I do a joke about, the school system is intelligent enough to understand that students learn on different levels. But the church, we only congregation. See, the school has honors, advanced, academic, foundation, special ed. The church just have congregation. To think that you could just speak to the congregation and the school have 5 ways they speak into the different level of student. And so you kind of need different things, whether it be a comedian, whether it be poetry, singing, preaching. You kind of need all of that because it's somebody in congregation that's gonna learn it a certain way. They won't get it the same way. When social media came, I took a back seat because it just wasn't my thing, social media. It was like it was something new. I was already grown when it came out. I already was making money, so I didn't gravitate to social media. But then the pandemic hit. And now the people who were on social media, they was doing their thing. And the regular cats like me, we looking for work because we couldn't travel, you couldn't do nothing. And so I remember just kind of thinking, man, is this it for me as relates to, not that my career over, but is this as high as it's gonna go? And then I got booked at this church in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. And that church, that particular weekend, just to make the story a little shorter, they gave me $30,000. I charged them $7,500 because I had to perform Friday night and then their services on Sunday. So I charged $7,500, but they gave me $30,000. It really wasn't about the money. It was God showing me, bro, you don't know what I'm gonna do. You don't know how I'm gonna do it. Stop tripping. I got you. Just come do what you gonna do. And I think, that's been like major to me, Whether it's emails, inboxes, people just coming up here on the street, bro, you don't know how you helped us with how you broke this stuff down, XYZ. And even though it was funny, like, but you ministered to me and all this. And I knew it was good. I ain't one of these guys. I had no idea. I wouldn't have put it out if I didn't think it was good. But I'm saying I didn't know it was this needed. Pastor Jeffrey Johnson Sr., he is a person whom used to come to my church back in the day, Higher Dimension Church, when I was a member there. That's when I got introduced to him. And he was one of the big 4 that my pastor would always speak about: Ralph West, Jeffrey Johnson, Maurice Watson, Freddie Haynes. And so I got turned on Pastor Johnson back in the day. And then when I became a comedian, and I've been at the church a couple of times. And he said something that I applied to my stand-up. He said, a sermon every week is like you turning in a term paper. Ain't no rough drafts. You get this paper. And so just talking about, he was speaking of how much studying it takes, to present this every Sunday. And I kind of took that into my comedy, like when I'm on stage, though I'm trying to be funny. You know, that's the thing, is comedy. But I want to make sure I did my due diligence with the study, with the preparation. And so by that being said, he very prepared. I mean, I ain't never seen him miss ever. And so all the things he doing now, I know is just, you know, par for the course. Yeah, Pastor Jay, he's a young gun. And you know, it's needed, especially when you come from good stock. And so I would just tell Pastor Jay, you know, he got the foundation, you know, he from the lineage, and you know, but he got his own way of doing things, which way, and you know, and believe in God, believe in himself, you know, because I just think he's gonna build off of what his dad has already done, you know, and you do that by what we said the first question, by blending. You take the past and you take what's now and you put it together and you go forward. So I think it's gonna be beautiful here at Eastern Star.